for the headline inclusion? What does he bring to the squad that you didn't have today?
Yeah, I think Will has had a consistent run of games this year. He's probably having one of his best seasons, and we managed to see him, quite a bit of him. He links the play well. He's playing as a second striker at Wigan. They were top of the league they got beaten by Sheffield Wednesday obviously on Tuesday night. I was at the game, and he leads the line quite well, and he's appreciating the players around him, good way to pass, and good vision, and he can score headed goals and different types of goals. So he's having a good season so far.
Do you see him as someone who can alleviate the goal scoring issue so far?
Well, I think he's a good option for us, and we're looking forward to getting him in this week and working with him at close quarters. Obviously, it's his first introduction into the Irish international team, so we're looking forward to seeing him training.
And the season is in. Sheffield United had it on their website an hour before your squad was announced that he wouldn't be in because he was recovering from injury. So was there any tension there between yourselves and Sheffield United?
No, not at all. No. The end has been out for a while. All right. He's been very consistent performer for Ireland, and obviously he's had his osteopubis injury, but he's come back and played 90 minutes. 20 minutes and 70 minutes, and he can play obviously left centre back or left wing back or left back, so he certainly will give us options.
Yeah. Sorry, my last question, and I appreciate this might be a slightly niche question, but I was interested to hear Keith Andrews talk the other day about the fact you have KPIs for specific games that you follow, and then that kind of converts into your game plan. Can you give me an example of the kind of stats you're looking at for, say, the Azerbaijan game, which then, because Keith said there was a correlation between hitting those KPIs and getting the result?
I think the main statistic we're looking for against Azerbaijan is to win the game, and we need to turn our draws into wins. I think if it was to have that conversation, it's a long conversation, and I think from my point of view, that's what we need to do. We've obviously the last window was very intensive. Three games, 6 days, very, tough physically against Portugal, obviously losing in the 96th minute, Azerbaijan and Serbia games, and I thought it were 3 very exciting games, and but we obviously want to turn a number of the draws we've had into wins, and we should have done that, and we haven't, so we just need to find a way of doing that now.
Stephen, can I just ask how you're planning to do that? What is the big change from the previous window that you're looking to make for this fixture against Azerbaijan, for example?
I think obviously the concession of the goal against Azerbaijan, obviously it's got a goal from distance. 2 goals we conceded at home have been some goals from distance, so we have to make sure that doesn't happen again, and convert our chances, create an awful lot of chances against Azerbaijan, and we just obviously. On the plus side, we've shown a capacity in the last couple of games to equalise late, and we haven't had that. So it's important that we had that. I think the formulation of the team and in the summer, you can see the sort of connection out between the younger players, the more experienced players, and the team spirit is good, as we showed against Serbia. Serbia were very good against us, but we played a lot of good football in that match and got the late goal against Azerbaijan. So the ability to keep going, that level of persistence and perseverance, and the capacity to score late goals, that's an important trait. And we've seen that in countries such as Wales, for example, who have scored a lot of late goals over the last few years. And we've noted that, like in very, very tight games, they've scored goals late. And it's an important characteristic of any team wants to be successful. And so it was good that in the last window that we did that, and we just need to, because we have taken the lead in games against Portugal and Serbia this year in qualifiers, so it is important. The ability to get late goals is an important trait, and one that we hadn't shown up into the last window, so it was important now to get them 2 late goals that we need to continue in that vein.
And then just another one, there was a poll released today where of the people who are invested in the Ireland team, people who follow the Ireland team, 80% want to see this management continue. Is that sort of stuff important to you at all, what the public think and the relationship between this team and the football public?
Well, you know, I don't know, but I think one of the things about the atmosphere in the game against Serbia and the Aviva was exceptional. The support got behind the team, regardless that we were 1-0 down. Really connecting with the players. I think it's, you know, it's from the ground up. You know, we've obviously introduced a high number of players into the squad in the last 7 or 8 months, and I think it's obviously players that it's quite organic, because it's players that have come from clubs throughout the country. It's a reflection of all the good work done by coaches around the country, and a lot of the players have emerged with mixed results. Some have done better than others, and people are excited by an introduction of a high number of players. I think the team is evolving. We wanted to get better. You know, we need more victories. We know that. We need to turn them draws into wins, and I think when I go out, you know, through the airport and travel to England a lot of time, if I'm in Dublin or anyone else, there's a lot of people excited by the team. They want it to work. They want the team to really evolve and do well. We all want to improve our results, and hopefully we can do that in this window.
Next question, please. Ed Leahy.
Yeah, Stephen, I just first a quick one just on Conor Ronan. Have you been watching him? How close is he to the squad? I'm sure he's the type of player from your time with 20 months that would make your style of play very much more workable.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm a big fan of Conor. You know, obviously he did well in Slovakia. He had a quieter spell in Switzerland. He had the guts to go on loan in Slovakia and have an impact, and he did brilliantly. And obviously he was in the under-21 team there and did brilliantly. And his spell in Switzerland was okay, and he did his metatarsal, which was unfortunate. He's come back. He's gone on loan to St Mirren, and he's only played a couple of games, so he's not close to the squad now. You know, he needs a sustained period of games under his belt. You know, it was great to see him get 2 goals last week, but other players were close, like Jack Taylor at Peterborough was having an excellent time. He was very close to being involved, and he's been excellent, really excellent. We like, you know, Jack could be involved in the future. He's doing really well in midfield, and obviously Anthony Scully's, you know, scoring goals at Lincoln and coming and doing okay. So players like that are emerging, and hopefully they can continue to do well.
Can I just ask you about going back to Will Keane scenario? And obviously we've known about Keane brothers for 10 years, and the mixed allegiances, I suppose, and how, you know, other players have been similar for the last, you know, the Grealishes, the Rices, and we're sort of getting to know that Irish-English family. It can be a complicated scenario. Can you give us a bit of insight into the conversation you've had with Will about his? I know he's probably had ambitions to play before you took over, just in terms of his family background and in that sense, and what's inspired him to sort of really push to come back.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not something, you know, that I've initiated. Like, Will has been qualified for the last couple of years now, and I did have a conversation with him. I met him after one of the games and had a good chat with him recently, and actually earlier in the season we had a good chat, and then his form has been very consistent. I think he had injuries in the last couple of years and he wasn't playing maybe as consistently, but he's good to watch. Like, he's a very clever player. He's good touch and good awareness, and he's an intelligent footballer. So if we can keep getting the running, he seems to be enjoying his football at Wigan and doing well. So it is League One, admittedly, but you know, he has he's impressed anyway. Anytime we go to see him, he's impressed us, and anytime I've gone to see him, so he's been important for them this season.
Stephen, just to pick up on
this, Gavin next.
Stephen, I just ask you, just after you get back from Baku, is it back to Castleknock in here, or did you come across something close to the Aviva that you want to continue?
No, in this campus we're based in Castleknock, yeah, for sure.
Just on the point about the poll that was done there on supporters, like after the last window, I know Jonathan Hill was asked whether or not he'd be sort of backing you to continue as manager. Does that kind of, you know, that poll and, you know, I suppose the support from the public and, you know, whether or not there'll be a lot of bums and seats for the friendly against Qatar as well. Does that sort of mean anything to you when it comes to those talks? I think, what is it, November time those talks will be taking place?
Well, I think it's not something I'm fixated on really. I think it's great to have, I spoke about it earlier, great to have support from the Irish public, and there's a lot of people very excited about the team. We all want results to improve. I think I felt that going around the country, and I've really felt that when I've been travelling anywhere and going on, even when we go on staff runs and things, cars pulling over. There's just that general feeling around the place that people are excited by the possibilities of the team doing well. But no, I'm not fixated on anything. I'm just focused really on these matches against Azerbaijan and Qatar and the next two windows. And it's not something really that that's my main focus. Just really on these games.
Have those discussions with Jonathan been taking place yet?
No, and nor would I expect them to. No, not at all. That's not, my contract's not until next July, and regardless, it's not something I'm very focused on. I'm just focused on the job the job that I have as international manager, and I'm just focused on doing the job and making sure we perform well in this window.
Okay, that concludes the live section.
He was overly critical. I think he said also, that he hoped I proved him wrong, or I may prove him wrong, and that's certainly the intention in that regard. We want to do well, we want the team to be successful, and everyone is entitled to an opinion, and that's the nature of football, particularly international football. That's for sure, But I've no major issue.
And just on the second one, this is a follow-up to a question earlier. So Jonathan made it clear that it's a decision with the board about the future of any manager. Would you like an opportunity to address them directly?
Not really, no. Listen, I'm just really, it's not something I'm fixated on. I think it's, from my point of view, it's I'm just focused on preparing the team well now. I'm not interested in the politics behind the scenes or getting involved. I never get involved in anything like that. I think the main thing for me is, we've had good support from everyone in the FAI. We've had very good support, and we want to go and we want to have a good window, and we want to go to Azerbaijan and get a victory. That's the ambition, and come home and play against Qatar here and do well. So that's what we want, and we've got obviously a full house hopefully in November for Portugal, which will be very exciting as well. So there's good games coming up, and so we want to go and just be determined and get a result in Azerbaijan. That's really my main focus.
Yeah, Aidan?
You have talked a lot about performances, and Keane spoke about that in his radio interview this week, but is Azerbaijan a game where the result is all that matters, that the only thing about the game is the result?
It's a fair question, but I think it's a game that we want to win, of course, and we missed a lot of chances in the home game, so it's a game that we want to win. I think there's no pushovers. I think to be fair to Portugal, beat Azerbaijan the last game 3-0 when they flew back, but that was the first time they conceded more than 2 goals in a few years, so that was unusual. So they don't concede that many goals normally, and you have to earn the right to score. They're well drilled, and they have a counter-attack address. So we've got to make sure that we take our opportunities, we try and create and score goals. That's what we want to do.
And just on the last one, you spoke about the difficulties of managing the 3 games and the logistics of doing that, because this is a one-off qualifier. In terms of players who aren't playing, again, Keith, I think he used the word undercooked, and he spoke on the radio the other day that a lot of these players aren't playing. How do you manage that, and how do you get someone like Jeff, who isn't playing at the moment? Matt wasn't involved for Spurs last week, hasn't played in the league for a couple of weeks. How do you get 90 minutes out of the game in a game that you said the result is vital? Yeah,
it is something that you have to weigh up. I think it was different even in the September window, where players would have played pre-season games and got minutes under their belt. Some players haven't kicked a ball from the last window. It's something that you have to weigh up and consider, and certainly in your selection, and we'll see how people appeared in training. Someone like Jeff Hendrick, to be fair, always sort of prides himself on his physical conditioning, but it isn't easy when you're not playing every week. And Matt Doherty or Cyrus Christie, for example, as well. So it is difficult for the players when they're not playing, and certainly to just come in out of it and raise their standards to international football. But we won't complain about that. Some of the players, once they come in and they always keep themselves in impeccable condition, a lot of the players, and they want to do well and they love playing for Ireland, and hopefully they can put in strong performances.
Owen?
Was Jason Malumbi and Alan Brown, could they come in for a second?
It's possible. We haven't made definitive arrangements on that. We'll sort of evaluate where we are. Alan hasn't, neither of them have been starting in recent weeks because Alan had a minor injury. So he did come on the other night, and Jason come on as well the other night. But so we'll have to evaluate that then after the first game.
I think we all know there is some sort of review at the end of this campaign in November. Do you think we need a couple of wins before then, or is it about performances?
I don't know. I think we're just focused on the performances and getting wins against Azerbaijan now. That's what we want to do, and I can't affect anything else. So we're just focused on that at the moment. And I think I think that there's been some very good performances in the in the campaign. Both games against Serbia were very good, Portugal, but obviously we want to turn. We need to want to try and win those games now, win some games, and that's what we want. And so we've got to work hard now and get ready for next Saturday and get that victory.
Sorry, Stephen, over this side. Just following up on Alan's point, Stephen, we're slipping towards where we're not far off being fourth seeds. You spoke about peaking for Euro 2024. To qualify for Euro 24 will be very difficult if we're fourth seeds. So on that basis, the games against Azerbaijan, Luxembourg, wins in those matches would improve our chances of staying as the third seed. Would you go along with that? Yeah, no, that is important. Yeah, I think so. The games are important. We know that. We're well aware of that, and certainly, I think regardless about our seeding, we'd want to win them anyway. But it is another incentive for sure. Seeding is important, isn't it? Like this time last year we were second seeds going to the Euros. Didn't work out that way because the Nations League campaign petered away. We became third seed. We don't want to fall back to become a fourth seed. No, yeah, but we did. We got the playoff because of the Nations League campaign and under Martin O'Neill. That's it. It wasn't because of the third place. But I think, that's for sure. We want to go and have good performances and try and win those games for sure. Well, we lost our World Cup seeding because of our Nations League performance. Just on the point of players who aren't in the squad, were Randolph, Long, Kieran Clark and McCarthy, are they available for selection? Randolph, Long and Randolph. Shane Long. Yeah, I've spoken to all four in the last couple of days. Durham is available. Yeah, hopefully he can get some game time now at West Ham or get a run of. He's fully fit again, which is great. Shane Long obviously not got any minutes from the last window, and the previous window has just been tough for him. Obviously, having had COVID, and Shane's obviously been brilliant in the camp. James McCarthy, has not played 90 minutes for Celtic yet. Well, he did have a good week. He's obviously had a very tough injury history over the last few seasons, so it was good for him to. Played 70 minutes and then he played 45 last weekend. So he's hoping to get minutes under his belt. He wants to play for Ireland again, he's looking at that, trying to get matches under his belt and make himself available for the November window. That's what he's hoping. With Kieran, no, he had good conversation with Kieran. He knows that. Again, looking at the November window for Kieran.
Paula,
Stephen, just on the striker things, Will Keane, was someone like Georgie Kelly ever on your radar?
Yeah, I think, obviously I know Georgie because I signed him, of course, for Dundalk, and he went to, he was a near neighbour of mine really in Inishowen, and we went to the locals. I've seen him playing for school team, in Buncrana. So I know him a long time, and he did very well for Bohemians in Europe this year and scored goals. So he has done well. I know he got a great goal last week as well. So he needs to do it over a period of time now, and he's had a good good half season as such. So he needs to do it over a period of time now for George. Obviously, it didn't go great from at St Pat's last year. He had an okay time, slow to get going, but obviously his move to Bows has rejuvenated him, and it's great for him. And hopefully he can keep that going.
Final question from Paul Lennon, please.
Steve, some players you brought up Will Keane, you've tried also League One, but you have players. Shane was playing only sporadically at a higher level. Shane Long. You've got Johnny Maguire plays every week at a higher level than some of those players, and also Scott Hogan is in and out, but starts most weeks at Birmingham. You're happy that the fellas you've selected up front, even though some are playing at a lower level, can do more than the fellas at a higher level.
Yeah, no, and we are at all the matches. Like in Shane, it's not that he's not playing sporadically; he's not playing at all. He didn't play in the Carabao Cup even, and that's. He was hoping he would, and so Shane hasn't played. Sean has recently got back in the team at Preston, and they're winning. They're starting to do all right. Sean has picked up again because he obviously had been out injured for a good while, and so it's good that Sean is back in the team, and some more monstering for sure, and Scott likewise is in and out of Birmingham, but has been lively, hasn't been better this year, improved run of form. So Scott is. Both Sean and Scott are on standby for this, this squad as well, so they're both in contention.